Cinema Verite 2011. This is the dramatisation of the genesis of the first reality television programme back in the early 70s. I think one of the terms at that time was fly on the wall. I remember when my mum first used that term, the whole idea is a fly sitting on a wall, watching a whole family doing what they normally do. The pioneer who brought this format into fruition. Craig Gilbert, played in this film by James Gandolfini. He was introduced to Pat Loud, played in this film by Diana Lane, and he persuaded her. She seemed perhaps a little reluctant, but she talked to her husband, Bill, played by Tim Robbins. He was actually all for it. I think simply because he thought the extra publicity might bring money in, and so the family got televised. They got filmed 24/7, apart from bathroom stuff. So one member of the family, the oldest son, Lance, was moving out of the house at that time, moving from California to New York. But the film crew went over to film him settling in Manhattan. And he was coming out as gay, and back in the 1970s, that was not as accepted as it is today. And there's still, as we all know, still a lot of problems with people not accepting the LGBTQ community. But back then, I would say it was more difficult. The press attention was pretty abominable. It was despicable, really, the kind of things they said about him and the judgments made about Pat. So I think it was incredibly courageous of the whole family to put themselves out there. I suppose they didn't realise what was happening. And also, there seemed to be about a whole year's delay. It isn't like now where you can broadcast live across the world, live stream on YouTube or other platforms. Back then, the editing had to be done and obviously took a long time. One thing about it, Pat and Bill's family life were struggling at that time, and Pat thought maybe this would bring them together. Bill was away a lot on work trips, and she thought this might help because he'd be participating. It didn't turn out quite like that. Things went wrong in many respects, and because of that there was a lot to actually film that brought about the tension between what the television people wanted, which was good ratings, and the privacy that the family obviously wanted. I mean, they'd already dispensed with a lot of their privacy, but having really difficult fights in front of the cameras, that was uncomfortable for the couple who did the filming. This was Susan and Alan Raymond, and they were played by Shana Collins and Patrick Fugit. The ethical questions that arose, considering it was uncharted territory, made this difficult. I really liked how they were portrayed. I could imagine the difficulty being pushed by your manager, such by your boss, into filming something that is uncomfortable for both you and the subject, the family in question. Well, circumstances get a bit out of control. I mean, not in an extremely dramatic way, but I mean, control isn't easy as many people think, I would say. The interactions with other people brings so many dynamics to life that it's impossible to control and not very wise to even try. There are things that we need to control in life, but our best placed plans are usually thwarted at some point. Now, the anti-LGBT stuff, that was something the criticisms made about the family. I thought that Pat handled it really well, and I admired her holding the family together. It was really heartwarming how Lance's siblings rallied around him. They were very fond of him. I thought that was beautiful. The whole thing about, we think that we can be performative to camera. With the advent of Big Brother, I think it was in Netherlands first, in the UK in 2000. I remember the criticisms as soon as it started airing. People were just acting to camera. But of course, you forget about cameras after a while, and the distractions of life and our interactions with others get in the way, so you can easily start forgetting that there are cameras there. That's what made Big Brother an interesting program to watch. But seeing all attention, both behind the scenes and in front of it, was fascinating. And the actual program, we wouldn't have seen the behind the scenes stuff, so it's surmised by the script writers here. I think it makes it very entertaining the way things develop. And I love quite a few aspects of the 70s. I love the music. The soundtrack in this includes California Dreaming by the Mamas and the Papas. You can never tire of that. I mean, some of the attitudes, as I mentioned, were terrible. I'm glad we're in the 2020s, but I've got a fondness for that early era in my life. I'm going to score this 8.25 out of 10. Love to know what you think. Thanks for watching. Please like if you like this, and thanks for subscribing if you do. Hope to see you again soon. Thanks. Bye for now. Abominable